everybody? Welcome into the League on Lock studios. My name is Eric, and the regular season in the LCS is finally over. 9 weeks down the drain, and finally those playoff standings are set. But boy, it took a while this weekend. You had 4 different tiebreakers going on in NA, only the one in EU. It looked like EU would have way more, but it ended up not being that way. But we got a lot of playoff guys that were standout performers, clinching their team into the playoffs, and some guys that weren't so solid. We got lots of honors and reports for Week 9. Let's start off in EU, and it's a juicy one, so we're giving 2 per region. Let's start off with the honors. You got to look at G2, who after Week 8 looked like they were struggling, but definitely rebounded in Week 9 with a 3-0 record and locking up that playoff bye, heading straight to the semifinals. And I'm looking in the top lane for them. It's Wunder up there. Even Perks had a couple questionable games this week, but Wunder was fantastic. KDA of 5, over 700 damage a minute, and 10.4 CS per minute in the games this week. And he was the rock in that top lane, and has been for the entire season for G2, really. This guy, you see him on the gangplank, he's totally popping off, doing the most damage in the game pretty much whenever he gets that champion. And then his Camille was absolutely absurd. That champion's a little busted right now, so I expect Riot to maybe look at changing her going forward. But Wunder was an absolute beast in the top lane. Hjarden looked a lot better as well, but I still think Wunder has been the most consistent player for G2 this entire split, with Perks kind of falling off a little bit the last couple of weeks. Next, we're looking to another playoff team, and it's H2K, who ran the tables in Week 9. Probably not the team most people were expecting or picking to pick up one of these final playoff spots. I know I wasn't, but we're looking into that bottom lane. It's Sheriff, one of the outstanding rookies this split so far in EU. 2-0 record for H2K and Sheriff. KDA of 18. He only died once in both of those games. 41% of his team's damage. A lot of that helps when you do over 76,000 damage as Jinx versus Roccat, and 10.7 CS per minute. This guy came up huge when it mattered most, and he has throughout the entire split. That quadra kill on Xayah that people remember earlier on in the split. They don't make playoffs if he doesn't come up with that huge game-saving Nexus save for H2K. They finished the split 8-10, and when they had to pretty much go 2-0 to secure a playoff spot, that's exactly what they did, on large part thanks to Sheriff and those carry pants that he was wearing in Week 9. So congratulations to H2K. I thought they had the potential to make playoffs, but not with this roster with the 2 subs that they made. So good job to H2K for them. Some teams we weren't expecting to completely miss out on playoffs, Schalke and Misfits. I had so much hype for Schalke. I thought they could maybe even get to the EU LCS finals. They don't even make the playoffs. They did not come up big in Week 9. Another 0-2 week when maybe you thought they might get back on track. Nope, didn't happen. They're on the outside looking in. And Misfits, the 2017 Worlds quarterfinalists, do not make it into playoffs heading in to the 2018 Spring Split with a couple of roster moves there. But I'm picking a whole team to pick on for Week 9, and that's Giants. The entire Giants gaming rosters who I'm reporting in Week 9. There wasn't one single guy you could single out for these guys, but I mean, they had a legitimate chance to make playoffs. I know they had a very tough week taking on Splice and Fnatic, but their kill-death ratio 0.2 in this one. They only had 5 turrets in 2 games, while opposing teams had 21, and they were down an average of 15.4 thousand gold in their 2 losses here. They only got 1 Dragon and 2 Rift Heralds in those 2 games. So they just got completely smashed in their 2 games against Splice and Fnatic. Again, 2 top teams in EU, but still, you expect a little bit of a better showing out of Giants in Week 9. And the final report in EU, it's not so much just this week, it's more of an entire season report, and that's looking at Sencux in the mid lane for Misfits. With PoE gone, it was like, okay, Sencux, maybe a side grade, maybe he's even got a deeper champion pool. Might not carry as hard as Power Revo, but he's still going to be rock solid in that mid lane. Not the case, really. He has not been rock solid for them this split. You look at his CS per minute, CSD at 15, last 10th place, damage percentage, 10th place. This is among all mid laners. This guy, has not lived up to the hype, even though there wasn't a huge amount of hype for him. I think he's clearly been the weak link on this Misfits squad, and I mean, in a league where mid laners are super important and you got to be able to play these control mages or these tanks like the Galio and the Scion. Maybe Sencux does have a very deep champion pool, but he just has not been living up to the standard for Misfits, and I think he's one of the main reasons why this squad is not making playoffs. They were thought to be another top team, top 3 at least, heading into the spring split, and it just hasn't been the case. So sorry, my man Sencux. You're getting the season-long report out in EU. But nonetheless, playoffs are set, and it's going to be exciting. I feel like Rocket and H2K are pretty huge underdogs coming in against Vitality and Splice. But the top 4 in EU is going to be super exciting. And the regular season is done, which means coming up soon is going to be those MVP votes and the All-Pro teams. Make sure you're sticking around the channel because we're going to be revealing those very soon.